Alright, today we're going to go over 3 different programs that we can use in our classroom. First, Poll Everywhere, which is great for building word walls and getting our students thinking in different ways. Google Apps for Education, to make collaborative spaces where our students can work together and allow them to annotate on documents and comment in texts. And then we're going to finish up with a classroom behavior management program called Class Dojo. So first, we're going to go to polleverywhere.com. That's polleverywhere.com. And you can actually create your first poll before signing up, which is a neat trick, especially for teachers that just want to try it out. We'll click Create Your First Poll. And I'll ask, what do you think of my presentation? We'll scroll down and we have a number of different ways that we can answer this. We can go to multiple choice for true, false. We can go to clickable images, which is a little bit more advanced. Or we can go to open-ended. I like open-ended because it gets students thinking and we can create word walls and word clouds, as well as tickers, which occasionally work well depending on how long the responses the student gives. So I'm just going to use a text wall, and I'm going to click Create. Once it loads, it tells us to text 974599 to the phone number 22333. Or students can go to pollev.com and simply enter this in. So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up pollev.com in a new tab, and we're first going to show you how to do this on a computer. If we go to pollev.com, it takes us to this web response section. We can look here and see what that number was, 974599. I'm going to copy it just because it's easier. You might want to write it up on the board or project it on a projector in your classroom so your students can see it more easily. And I'm going to paste it in. All this does is tell Poll Everywhere what subject or what question to attach your answer to. So I'm going to say, "This is cool," and submit my response. If we go back here, we can see a new pop-up that says, "This is cool." I can also do this on a mobile device so our students can use their cell phones in class. If I do this on a mobile device, all I have to do is in the To section where I would text, the phone number I'm texting to is 22333. And then I still have to type in 974599 before I type in any responses. And I've just sent one from my phone, so now we can see that I have another comment. So our students can actually send as many as they want. I believe per poll it's about 50 answers, but that should be enough to get a discussion going in your classroom. Now we're going to go on to Google Drive to talk about how students can work together in class. So we'll start with going to google.com and then going up to this 9-dot block up here next to my name. I'll click it and go to Drive. For this activity, we want our students to work together to write a document, and we want them to be able to use the same sheet of paper. If we were to do this outside of a computer, we could use a giant sheet of paper or a poster board. You go to Create and to Document. Before we type anything into our document, though, we want to share it with our classmates. So we'll go up to the blue Share button. I'm going to skip naming the document for now, and I'm going to invite someone. I'm going to invite myself on my personal email, and I'm not going to notify myself via email because I know that I'm receiving it. Now that I have access on mine, I can type in hello using the computer that you can see. And then I can add using another device, or another student could add using another device, their own information. So, if we were going to talk about a subject in class, both of us could be writing on the same document at the same time. Now let's talk about how students can annotate and comment on text that you give them in class. I've already opened up a document, but it's very easy to go to Create, then down to Document, and simply copy and paste a news article into your document. I'm using this one, which talks about the Venezuelan crisis that's going on right now in South America. We can see that my students have highlighted certain areas and then in the margins have made comments about what's being said, whether that's questions about what a certain word means, their opinions, or simply summarizing what they think the paragraph means. In order to comment, all a student has to do is highlight a word or phrase, right-click it, and then click Comment. Alternatively, they could click Control, Alt, and M at the same time. Then, a little space pops up to the right of the paper where they can type in what they'd like to say about a certain word, phrase, or paragraph. This would be very useful in English language arts, or as you can see in a more advanced Spanish, though in any subject where they would have to read texts, this would definitely be useful. The last site we're going to visit is classdojo.com. Now, this site's really great for behavior management and for communicating with parents. What I'm going to do is go up to Login and down to Teachers. I've already made an account, so I'll skip the sign-up process, but it's very easy. Since I'm already logged in on my own computer, we can now see a display of all my classes. So that my students don't get angry, I'm going to use the demo class. So I'll click Start, and we can see a number of celebrities that might have been in my class. I can select any celebrity, and I can decide whether they've been doing something positive, working hard, helping others, participating, or something that maybe needs work, like bullying, being disrespectful, having no homework, or talking out of task. When I click any of these items, a sound to bring students' attention to the board, as well as a little pop-up happens to let the student know that they've either been recognized for good behavior or negative behavior. This can also be done on your phone, so this way you can be walking around the classroom and simply giving points as you see them. Now, students can see up on the board all of their points as well as checking at home, and parents are actually also able to check these scores for their specific student. So maybe Hugh's parents will notice that Hugh's been acting out a lot, while Cameron's mother and father will notice that she's been doing very well. ClassDojo also has a number of other features, such as setting a timer so that I can have my students work for a specific amount of time on a specific task, or check attendance by deciding if Johnny was absent, tardy, or present. I can click Save Attendance, and then I can end my class. Then we can get analytics for the whole class for today as to what our students have been doing. We can see, since this was a short class, that the only information we have is that Johnny Depp was off task one time. But if we select a specific student, we can actually see how they've been doing. Had we put multiple marks, both positive and negative, this would look different, and there would be more green and red depending on how the student would do. We can print this off so that we can bring it to parents to meetings, or simply store it with the counselors, and parents can check this. Parents can also look at the trend spotter, which presently is not working, which will then show how students are doing over time, whether they've simply had one or two bad days, or whether this is a recurring problem, or maybe there's a pattern in why the student is acting out on certain days. Again, if we go back to the classes and we were to restart this class, and I was to give Mr. Depp say 2 positives and then 1 needs work for talking out of turn, and then end the class, we can actually see both individually how Mr. Depp has been doing, as well as how the whole class has been doing. We can see that we've had 1 person who was talking out of turn, 1 person who was off task, 1 person that was on task, and 1 person that was helping others. And we can see a visual representation of everything that went on. This is great for when you're having a parent meeting, so that you can show parents not only how a student acts, but you can have data to back up what you're saying.